Hi, this is your Edpuzzle video for the homework that's due on Friday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read through the problem, let you get started, and then, so here we go. Use the story about Farmer Ted and his animals to answer the questions that follow. So here's the story. Farmer Ted is weighing his animals. He knows that a pig weighs approximately 1/4 as much as a cow. He also knows that a Clydesdale horse weighs about twice what a cow weighs. A sheep weighs approximately 100 pounds less than a pig. Part A, write an expression to represent the weight of each of the animals if a cow weighs X pounds. And I made a little table to help you organize your thinking. Part B, if Farmer Ted puts 3 cows, 2 Clydesdale horses, 4 sheep, and 1 pig on a giant scale used for weighing semi-trucks, the scale reads 7,850 pounds. That's vaguely ridiculous, but here we go. This is one of those situations where story problems in math get kind of funny. There you go. So the first thing I want you to do there is write an equation to represent the situation, then solve your equation to find the approximate weight of each animal. Okay. So here we go. So go ahead and do part A. And then once you have an expression for the weight of the horse, the weight of the sheep, and the weight of the pig, go ahead and come back to the video, and then we'll do part B. We'll start it kind of together, and then you can go. Okay. All right. So one strategy that helps people sometimes is to think about some highlighting. So a pig weighs approximately 1/4 much as a cow. That clue we're going to use for the weight of a pig. A Clydesdale horse weighs about twice what a cow weighs. So that's going to be about the horse. And the sheep weighs approximately 100 pounds less than a pig. So I need that for the sheep. All right. So let's do the pig first. A pig weighs approximately 1/4 as much as a cow. You could write 1/4 times a cow because the cow is X. You could write it like that. Or you could write it X divided by 4. Or you could use decimals. Any of those would be fine. Okay. Clydesdale weighs about twice what a cow weighs. If a cow is X, the horse is going to be twice that. And a sheep weighs approximately 100 pounds less than a pig. Because this is the one that I wrote first, that's the one I'm going to use in my expression for the weight of a sheep. 100 pounds less than a pig. A pig weighs 1/4 X. And then I would take 100 pounds away from that amount to figure out the weight of the sheep. All right. Go ahead and write your equation, and then try and solve it. And then come on back and we'll talk about what makes sense. All right. So we've got 3 cows, 2 Clydesdale horses, 4 sheep, and 1 pig, and all of them together read 7,850 pounds. So I'm going to do 3 times however much a cow weighs, plus 2 times however much a horse weighs, plus 4 times however much a sheep weighs, plus 1 pig, and all of that together is going to be 7,850. All right, we said at the beginning a cow weighs X. We can see from our table that a horse weighs 2X. We can see from our table that a sheep is 1/4 X minus 100. And we can see from our table that a pig is 1/4 X. Okay. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, in order to solve this, I'm going to tidy up my equation a little bit. So 3 times x is 3x. 2 times 2x is 4x. This one, 4 times a quarter. 4 times a quarter is 1. So that's going to be plus 1x. And then distributive property, I have to do it for both. Oh, that's a negative 100. So I'm going to be minus 400. Minus 400. And then 1 times a quarter is plus 1 quarter x equals 7,850. All right. I'm going to combine my like terms. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. Plus 1 quarter is 8 and a quarter. I think what I'm going to do here, because my numbers, a quarter is such an easy thing to turn to a decimal, I think I'm actually going to make it into a decimal. So I think I'm going to write it as 8.25x, and then I still have the minus 400, equals 7,850. Cool. Plus 400 plus 400, I get 8.25x equals 8,250. Oh, that's cool. So when I divide both sides by 8.25, I get x equals 1,000. That's my answer. Okay. So let's see. The weight of the cow was x. Clydesdale horse was 2x. A sheep was 1/4 x minus 100. And a pig was 1/4 x. So if x equals 1,000, the cow's going to be 1,000 pounds. Clydesdale is double that, so that's 2,000 pounds. A sheep, this one's a little tricky, so I'm going to do that over here. So 1/4 times 1,000 and then minus 100. 1/4 times a quarter of 1,000 is 250. Subtract 100 is 150. So a sheep is 150 pounds. And a pig is 1/4 of 1,000. 1/4 of 1,000 is 250 pounds. How did you do on the Farmer Ted problem? Cool. Problem number 2 is a lemonade problem. We're going to do the same thing. I'll read the whole problem. I'll ask you to do part A. We'll go over part A. Then I'll ask you to do part B, and we'll go over part B. Elliot is making lemonade for a party. Expressions showing the ratio of water to sugar to lemon juice is used to make lemonade are shown below. So cups of water is, if she uses C cups of water, she needs 1/4 of that amount of sugar, half of that amount of lemon juice. And if you add up the C plus 1/4 C plus half C, the total is going to be 14 cups of juice. Part A, write a story that matches the expressions and equation shown on the left. Make sure that your story includes all important mathematical relationships shown in the expressions and equation. Your story might be a little different than mine, but it needs to have the basic details the same. And then part B, solve your equation, and then figure out how many cups of each ingredient is Elliot planning to use. Okay, go ahead and do part A, and then we'll come back, and then... All right, welcome back. So here... I would probably write this story. For every cup of water, Elliot needs 1/4 cup of sugar and a half a cup of lemon juice. She is making, that's a G. She's making 14 cups total. All right, go ahead and solve your equation and figure out how many cups of each ingredient is Elliot planning to use. All right, for part B, I'm going to do C plus 1/4 C plus 1/2 C equals 14. And for this problem, because we've been talking about how to deal with fractions, I'm going to clear the fractions by finding a common denominator. If you used a different strategy, that's totally fine. You can have lots of different solution paths, or as long as it doesn't matter what solution path you use, we should get the same answer. All right. This is too small. I'm going to make it a little bigger so I can see. Common denominator strategy. Okay. My common denominator is going to be 4. So to get to a denominator of 4, I'm going to multiply the C by 4/4. The second term already has it. And the third term I need to do 2/2 because 2 times 2 gets me to 4. And then the last, this side, I need 4/4 over here. Okay. So I'm going to get 4C/4 plus 1C/4 plus 2C/4 equals 56/4. And I only know that's 56 because I just did it on a calculator a minute ago. Okay. So now I can go ahead and combine my like terms. I have 4C, 1C, 2C. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7/4 C. That is a terrible 4. Equals 56/4. All right. There's a couple of things you can do here. I'm showing this way because it's the one people are struggling with the most. So I'll give us another practice. My goal is to get to 1C. If I multiply by 4/7, I have to do the same thing on both sides. 4 times 7 is 28. 7 times 4 is 28. So that's going to give me 1C on the left-hand side. So this is going to be 1C equals. And then over here, if you look at this, 4 and 4, that's just going to be 1 and 1. And then 56 and 7, 56 divided by 7 gives me 8. So 1C equals 8. And then at this point, you need to go back to your expressions. We see that cups of water, C is 8. So I'm going to need 8 cups of water. Cups of sugar is 1/4 C. So 1/4 of 8 is 2. I need 2 cups. So it's 8 cups of water. I need 2 cups of sugar. And then half of C, half of 8 is 4. 4 cups of lemon juice. And just to double check, if I have 8 cups plus 2 cups plus 4 cups, 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14. That really does give me the right amount of juice. All right, how'd you do? Awesome. All right, here we go, the triangle problem. This problem, I'm going to say right now, there's 2 ways that you could solve it, and your equation will be different depending on what you choose X represents. So I'm going to actually show you both equations, but I'm only going to solve one of the equations. the measure of each angle, either way you do it, the measure of each angle will end up being the same number of degrees. So if you solved it differently than I did, as long you will get the same answers for the measure of each angle. Okay, here we go. In triangle RST, angle R and angle S have the same measure. The measure of angle T is half the measure of angle R and angle S. Marley drew the following model and picture to represent this situation. So we see her model and we see that little sketch of triangle RST. Part A, help Marley write an equation that represents the sum of the angles in triangle RST. Remember, the sum of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. And then part B, solve your equation and find the measure of each angle. All right. Go ahead and take a moment. Try to write the equation and then try to solve it, and then we'll go over these together. Okay. All right, you're back. So there's two ways to do this. If I say R is, if measure of angle R represents X, like if X is the number of degrees of angle R, then angle S is X, and then angle T is 1/2 X. So then that equation would be X plus half of X equals 180 degrees. Okay? That's one way to do it. If I did it this way, the other way to do it is what if, so this one was like the measure of angle R. Sorry, let me back up. X represents the number of degrees for angle R. So the measure of angle R. M is for measure, that little sign is for angle, and then R. Okay. If I did it the other way, if I said angle T is X, then angle R is going to be 2X. Angle S is going to be 2X. So then that equation would be, and this is the one I'm going to solve because there's no fractions in it, so it seems a little easier. So 2X plus 2X plus X still is 180 degrees. But in this case, X represents, let X represent the measure of angle T. So depending on which thing you pick for your X, it will make your equation easier or a little bit more complicated. Just do what makes sense to you. We'll get to the same place. All right, let's go ahead and solve it. Looking at this, all of these together, 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5X equals 180. Divide both sides by 5. Is 36. 36 times 5. Yep, so X is 36 degrees. Okay, so in this case, that would mean angle T is 36 degrees. Let me write it so you can read it. 36 degrees. Angle S and angle T are going to be double that, which is 72 degrees. So angle R is 72 degrees. Angle S is 72 degrees. Angle T is 36 degrees. And we can check if I added those up. 72, 72, and 36. If I added that up, do I really get, I don't know, let's see. So 6 and 2 is 8, 9, 10. 10, 7 and 3 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus 1 is 180. So that really does give us the right number of degrees. If you did the other equation, we still get the same answer. That's going to be 2.5, so 2.5 X equals 180. Oops. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'm going all crazy over here. Okay. 2.5x is 180. Divide both sides by 2.5. X equals 180 divided by 2.5 on my calculator is 72. So I get a different answer here. In my first equation, x was 36. In my second equation, or in my orange equation, x is 72. In my pink equation, x is 36. But it's the same answers because x represents angle R. So angle R is still 72. Angle S is still 36. Angle T is half of 72, which, anyway, my answers are the same. Either way makes sense. I'm just curious, did you prefer the pink way or the orange way, or did you do something totally different? Let me know. All right. Okay. We're on to part 2, solving equations practice. So solve the equation, show your reasoning. Here's the equation. Tell me what you got, and then let's go ahead and see how to solve this. All right. The first thing I would do, because I see these parentheses, is I'm going to take that value and multiply it through. And I see a bunch of negatives going everywhere. Just remind yourself, a positive multiplied by a positive is a positive. A positive number multiplied by a negative number is a negative number. If you multiply a negative number times a positive number, that's still negative. And a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so just kind of remember that. And we'll go together. Okay, so negative 1/7 x. Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I don't want to distribute by a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the fractions first. I'm going to get common denominator. This is 7. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and do this. Negative 1/7 x, and then a negative times, remember this is plus negative. So negative times a negative, 1/7 times 7 is going to be 1. So a negative times a negative is a positive. So this is plus 1. Plus 22 equals 26. Go ahead and combine your like terms. Negative 1/7 x plus 23 is 26. Minus 23 minus 23. Negative 1/7 x equals 3. Multiply both sides. I want to get to 1. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 7 over 1 times negative 7 over 1. I'm out of space, so I'm going to go over here. X equals negative 21. Did you get the same answer as me? I hope so. If you didn't get the same answer as me, do you see your mistake? What was your mistake? All right. Try this one. 10 equals 3 times parentheses x minus 2 minus 2 times parentheses 5x minus 1. I think I'm actually going to give us a little space here. I'm going to erase some of that stuff. Okay. Go ahead and solve it on your own. Tell me what you got. And then we'll see how you did. All right. With this one, the first thing that I would do is distributive property. So I'm going to say 10 equals, I'm going to do 3 times x, 3 times x, and then minus 3 times 2. Okay. And then for this side, this minus 2 is the same thing as adding a negative 2 times what's in the parentheses. So I'm going to go negative 2 times 5x. And then remember, this is a negative 1, so negative 2 times negative 1 plus negative 2 times negative 1. All right. So 10 equals 3 times x is 3x. and then minus 6, and then plus negative 2 times 5x is negative 10x. You don't technically need those parentheses, but I don't know, I just wrote them. And then plus negative times a negative is a positive, plus 2. Okay. I'm going to combine my like terms. 3x and negative x. 3x plus negative 10x. 3 plus negative 10 is negative 7. So negative 7x. Then we go negative 6 plus 2. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And all this still equals 10. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 14 equals negative 7x. Divide both sides by negative 7. X equals 14 divided by negative 7 is negative 2. How'd you do? There were a lot of negatives to keep track of. Did you keep track of them all? Did you make 2 mistakes and get the wrong answer even though you made mistakes? If you get a right answer but you make mistakes with your negatives, that make sure that you go back and fix those. Sometimes it'll happen that two mistakes will cancel each other out. So make sure that you're don't just look at the answer, but make sure that your steps also make sense. All right, friends, last problem. Here we go. Try it on your own. Tell me what you get. All right. If I'm going to do a common denominator, my common denominator is going to be 4. So this first term already has 4. The second one I'm going to multiply by 2 over 2. And this last I'm going to multiply by 4 over 4. All right. Because that will give me 4 in all of my denominators. So then 3x over 4 plus x times 2 is 2x over 4 equals negative 10 times 4 is negative 40 over 4. So if that's true, that means that 3x plus 2x has to equal negative 40. That just logically has to be true. Let's go ahead and combine our like terms. 5x equals negative 40. Divide both sides by 5. X equals negative 8. All right. Good job, everybody. I'm not totally sure how to stop this video now. Great job. I don't know what's going on.